Just over a month ago, I released a video celebrating 10 years with my original UE Boom. Now, I've spent that last month testing out the new UE Boom 4, the latest installment in the Ultimate Ears Bluetooth speaker lineup. And thankfully, it does not disappoint. So let's jump into it. Starting with the build and design, the Boom 4 looks nearly identical to the recent Boom 3 and remains very consistent with the design language that Ultimate Ears has been using since the beginning. The defining characteristics are these large plus and minus volume buttons on the front, which you can't miss, and also the exterior overall fabric that they use. Anytime you see these two factors, you know that it's a UE product. Physically, it's the same cylindrical design as the previous Booms. It's slightly larger than my original model that I've had for years, but it still fits comfortably into a cup holder or into a backpack water bottle sleeve. There's even a small fabric hook on the back that you can use with a carabiner or some other contraption to hang the speaker up. The Boom 4 stands at 7.3 inches tall or 184 millimeters. It weighs in at about 620 grams or 1.4 pounds. And the result is a beautifully portable design that allows you to easily grab, hold, carry, store, toss, or whatever other verb you want to apply to your Bluetooth speaker. This color is called Cobalt Blue. It's a beautiful design, but you can also get a very classic looking active black or some slightly bolder options called Enchanting Lilac and Raspberry Red. From a durability perspective, the speaker is rated at IP67, meaning that it's both dust and waterproof. The speaker even floats on water, which is great, and it can be submerged to about 3 feet without issue. Though, like any tech product, my recommendation is for that to be a backup plan. There's just no need to be this guy from the UE website. Now, outside of water and dust, UE claims the speaker has been drop tested from 1.5 meters, though I didn't test that myself. And overall, this is a very durable product, which continues the tradition that allowed this one to last for 10 years' time. The audio quality of the Boom 4 is just the way that I like it. It's clear and balanced. It uses two 40mm active drivers and two 46 by 65mm passive radiators. The result is an incredible sound for the speaker's size. It's not going to be the greatest sound that you've ever heard come out of a speaker anywhere, but when it comes to portable audio and this $150 price point, it's tough to beat the balance you get out of this device. It also provides 360 degrees of sound, allowing you to just drop the speaker anywhere you want at a party or gathering without worrying about which way you face it. There is one drawback, though, to the 360 degrees of sound. That's on an occasion where you want to try to respect some nearby strangers. For example, if you're at a park or a beach, something like that, you want your music to be heard clearly by you and your group, but you don't want to disrupt the folks right over there. The 360-degree soundscape can be a little bit annoying in those situations because there's no way for me to direct it towards myself without it also going towards those other folks. Thinking about the sound quality, if I were to draw parallels to earbuds today, you have certain brands that emphasize specific audio characteristics. For example, you've got Beats, and they're known for their bass. Personally, though, I'd say the UE Boom is most like Apple headphones, especially the AirPods Pros. They sound clean, clear, and balanced. To me, this is exactly the same way. Every genre of music that I've listened to on this sounds great, as well as spoken word for podcasts and things of the like. The only area that you may want more is in the low end. Even with the bass cranked and the EQ on this thing, you don't feel loads of booming bass. It's plenty for me personally, but if you're a bass head, you'll want to look towards the UE Mega Boom or potentially towards a different brand that focuses more on that low end. Wherever you land in your personal preferences, my belief is that the sound from the Boom 4 is a pretty darn accurate representation of the way audio was meant to be heard. If you compare the original UE Boom to the Boom 4 head-to-head, everything is just beefed up ever so slightly in the newer version. Here's a quick demo comparing the Boom 4 to the original UE Boom and to my iPhone 14 Pro as a baseline.
My weakness comes and goes. I'm
my ear, the highs, mids, and lows are all slightly improved. There's no one change that stands out tremendously, and I still think it's just as balanced as the original model. When testing it at higher volumes, I did note that the Boom 4 gets slightly louder than the original. I'd say it's an extra 10% or so at the top end. Now, when you're using this new top end of power, the Boom 4 does get slightly fuzzy and distorted. However, playing it at 90% or so, roughly equivalent to the max volume of the original, I didn't really detect any major distortion. The result is that you may not want to max out the new Boom 4 if you're concerned about audio quality and not just trying to get the maximum volume output possible. I also wonder if there's any way that this distortion potentially gets addressed in a firmware update down the road. Not sure if that's possible, but you never know. Either way, I still love the sound that UE Boom speakers put out, and the fact that there's some distortion at super high volumes will be on my mind when listening to loud music outdoors, but it really won't hinder me indoors or on a day-to-day basis. The next topic to discuss is usability. Now, the Boom 4 is pretty simple when it comes to button layout. On the front, you'll find two gigantic volume buttons. This one up here makes the volume go up, and then this one down here makes the volume go down. Yeah, I bet you didn't expect that. You can also push the two of these at the same time, and it'll tell you verbally what the speaker's charge is. On the top, you've got a power button, Bluetooth pairing button, and then the most interesting button on the device right in the middle, which they call the magic button. This button was first introduced in the last generation, the Boom 3, and it allows you to do a few things. A single click lets you play or pause your track. Double clicking it makes you go forward a song. Triple click makes you go back a song, all very normal. But perhaps most interestingly is if you push and hold it, it'll automatically start playing a default playlist that you get to define in your UE Boom app. They refer to this as one-touch playlist. Now, it's a very cool idea if you have a playlist that you play regularly so that you can get the party going without needing to pull your phone out of your pocket. However, compatibility is a bit weird. It works universally with Amazon Music. It also works with Apple Music exclusively on iOS, which kind of makes sense because, to the best of my knowledge at least, you can't access Apple Music on Android. However, it works with Spotify exclusively on Android, which doesn't really make any sense to me. It also lacks any support for YouTube Music. So it's a cool feature, but only if it works with your music service of choice. From a connectivity perspective, the Boom 4 utilizes Bluetooth 5.0 with an advertised range of 45 meters or 147 feet. In testing with a clear line of sight between the phone and speaker, I was able to get this up to nearly 300 feet and still have a stable connection. Now, as you're probably aware, a lot of factors go into Bluetooth range, especially when things like walls or other types of obstacles come between your two devices. However, the fact that I could get reliable signal at twice the advertised distance is a very good sign. I will call out that as I was moving towards that distance, there was a couple small blips in quality, but each time they returned quickly to normal, and honestly, there's still not really a need for most people to be using a speaker at 300 feet of range, so the advertised range should likely be plenty for most. The onboard battery is 11.52 watt hours, and they advertise it running for 15 hours at 30% volume. I've had great results with UE batteries in the past. See this guy? But obviously there's a lot of factors like what volume you're running at, what's the temperature, and all sorts of other things that contribute to overall battery performance. I think that an easy expectation for this speaker would be a full day of mild listening or an afternoon or evening of full blast listening. Thankfully, the most annoying part of the prior Boom models has been resolved with the Boom 4. Underneath this little flap in the back sits a USB-C charging port. I still can't believe it took until 2024 to add this, but here we are. This new model ships with a basic USB-C to USB-C cable, but does not include a power brick. Though I'm tremendously excited about the new port and how much easier it will be to charge this thing going forward, my only complaint is the manner in which they set this port really far back inside the door. If you have a USB-C cable that is a bit on the thicker side, it may not be compatible with this inset port. It's an inconvenience that just was not necessary in my book. One other major negative is that the Boom 4 no longer supports UE's power-up charging dock. This is a big bummer because it was really nice to have the ability to leave your speaker fully charged at all times and have it in a ready grab-and-go state whenever you wanted. However, a friend of mine who did own the power-up said that it failed on him. So it's totally possible that they had many similar problems with that technology and they just deemed it to be more trouble than it was worth and killed it as a result. In a way, the charging changes kind of feel like 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but hey, I will gladly accept getting one device closer to full adoption of USB-C in my lineup, even with that trade-off. There's not a lot of special additional features on the UE Boom 4. There is no access to any voice assistant services or anything like that, which some other speakers provide. Where UE does excel though is their app. The UE app has several basic settings, some gimmicky features, and a few genuinely useful features. Settings include the ability to rename your speaker when it comes up in a Bluetooth menu. You can enable or disable the drum sounds that play when turning the speaker on and off, and you can set up that one-touch playlist that we discussed earlier. The slightly gimmicky features include an alarm feature to let you wake up to your music, and a megaphone feature that lets you talk into your phone to broadcast it to your speaker. Useful to make an announcement at a party or an event, but you have to be further away from your speaker because if you're close by, you'll get the echo to cause a bit of a loop, so you have to be really intentional with how you use it. Finally, there's the actually useful features in the app. First, you can use the app to remotely turn your speaker on and off. This can be tremendously useful, and I've used it a ton over the years because your speaker may be in any number of different places that are slightly out of reach. It's easy to just then turn it on with the click of a button. It's also nice to help find your speaker if you, for some reason, can't locate it. The next useful feature is EQ adjustment. The Boom includes 5 different EQs, a flat signature sound, plus one for bass boost, cramp spaces, deep relaxation, whatever that means, and one for podcasts and other vocals. They also let you adjust and customize an EQ. This is the custom one that I use that has sounded the best to me. Finally, the last feature that I really love is Party Up, where you can pair your speaker with up to 150 other UE speakers to jointly play music. It's great to extend a party atmosphere around a space or across a yard, or to just get really bumping in a smaller space. That brings us now to value and pricing. The Boom 4 comes in at an MSRP of $150. Personally, I think it's 100% worth it. It's a great speaker with incredible sound, especially for its size. It continues to strike the balance that I want in a speaker at a price that I'd say is palatable for most people. Even in the few months since release, UE has put this model on sale occasionally, so look out for that. Now, this is likely representative of just how competitive the Bluetooth speaker landscape is these days. If you're comparing this one within the UE lineup, I think it's a sweet spot for basic listening. It gets loud enough to fill your space, while also being compact enough to bring anywhere. If you want more sound and aren't as concerned about size, UE has a whole bunch of options for larger speakers to bring even more sound, and especially more bass. Looking across the competitive landscape, there are several brands competing in this sub $150 price range. The Bose SoundLink Flex and recently updated Beats Pill are both also at $150. And just below those, we have the Sony XE200 and JBL Flip 6 at $130. Currently, I've purchased the Bose and the Sony as my first points of comparison to this guy. I don't have final thoughts on those yet, but I'll have reviews on both coming soon, and hopefully on those others shortly thereafter. If you'd like to see any other speakers reviewed or compared, let me know down in the comments. If you'd like to grab a UE Boom for yourself, there's an affiliate link in the video description that helps support the channel at no additional cost to you. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. This one makes the volume go up, and this one makes the volume go down. This one makes the volume go up, and this one makes the volume go down. I bet you didn't see that coming. This one makes the volume go up, and this one makes the volume go down. I'm sorry. This one makes the volume go up, and this one makes the volume go down.